But I think the next like really big businesses in most verticals will be a business owner who live streams every day. So it's literally like a Truman Show, but they figured out to do it in such an entertaining way that it'll have like good lead flow for the business.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's like Jim Skin is like a UK guy who's doing a lot of live streaming. He's live streaming, just focused on that. He has a bunch of clippers clipping up all the content to lead people back to the live stream. So I think that's happening in like China and Asia, but it just hasn't really happened in the West here.
Yeah.
The live streamers that we know like sell luxury handbags or are in a studio. But I think if a business owner could do that, that's like the next...
Basically
tier.
like the Osmo following someone around, live streaming.
Constantly.
Yeah. Welcome to Captive Conversations, brought to you by Captive Wi-Fi. I'm your host, Adam Forman. This podcast brings you the best stories from suppliers, marketers, and operators from our beloved hospitality sector. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everyone. Episode 90. We have Thomas from Fearless Media. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you.
And looking at some of the content of the video that you make, it's like, and obviously I've been obviously learning and watching. Some of it's very cool actually, and some of the content you do is very cool and we'll go into it later. But some of the guidelines that you're giving with like those testimonial stuff as well.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Let's start with we had two questions from Natalie Dunning from Kitsch. And they're pretty easy to be fair. So she said her first question was, what was your favourite food memory?
So my favorite food memory is funny. I kind of have two ones, but the one that comes to mind is I was in Italy at Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, can you switch that up around?
Oh, I turn it around? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry, go on.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I was in Italy at Christmas with my girlfriend, and we did like this whistle stop tour. We started in Milan and sort of worked our way downwards, and we kind of finished in Sorrento. On one of the last nights, we got like this lemon pasta dish, which I don't know, it was a mixture of, the dish was great, but when we were speaking to the waiter, it was the last day of their season before they closed up for like 2 months. And I don't know what it was, but it was gorgeous. We were the only people in the restaurants. A really unique dish, so I loved that. Yeah, it was so good.
So you feel a bit VIP'd up.
A little bit, yeah, but not the VIP price. Like Italy
of course.
has this like such high quality food, but you don't necessarily need to like really pay over the top. So it was awesome. Yeah.
Nice. I like the thing I like about it over there is that whichever restaurant you go to, you're treated like a local as well, rather than it's difficult here and in Europe, like it's different. So, you know, over there it's like traditional, and you go in and so many people I've spoken to who come back from they're like, I spoke to the bar guy, the guy at the bar for like 2.5 hours, you know, just that open conversation.
Yeah.
It's quite nice. So perfect. What was it called? Do you remember?
Oh, I'll get the name.
Yeah,
put it on
fine,
the screen.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could open any concept, what would it be?
So that was the second thing. This morning, we went to, is it called Borough Market?
Borough Market.
Borough Market.
Yeah.
We saw it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And the only place my girlfriend wanted to go was the strawberries and chocolate.
Yeah.
And how seamless it was to pay, like it was £11, say, for the strawberries, but how quick it was, must have been 12 seconds to get that £11.
Yeah.
So how nice it tasted and how quick it was to do. I thought that's an amazing concept. You know, I love that idea of having, was it Rory Sutherland or something said, like, have a coffee shop that just sells flat whites?
But they're open now, you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
so a guy went on social media, saw that comment, and now he's got Flat White or Fuck Off as an actual brand, and they open up a test one down the road on Tottenham Court Road in there to test it, and I think they're gonna it's launched. They messaged Rory to say, do we have your permission to launch it? He was like, with pleasure. And then they met him as well, and it's been insane. So it looked really cool, and they did a couple of food trade stalls and stuff like that, where there's like this like older lady who was like serving coffee, and the guy comes like, "Can I have a latte, please?" She's like, "No, fuck off." Love it. So so the one they did there was a big old activation. Okay. But you think about retail, they've already done retail out of it, so they've already done the online store.
Yeah.
I haven't looked further into it, but the whole, I love it when people can build on social, like build your brand on social, and that was really clever. But the one in Borough Market, I mean, there's loads in Borough Market.
Yeah,
they literally are like, there's the raclette place that all they're doing is cheese and potatoes, and it's just There's 15 quid, and then there's another one. I don't know if you saw it. The like 100 layer chips, whatever it is, in the corner. Yeah, Borough Market is dangerous. It's so dangerous. If I have a client there and we go and I bring back donuts from Bread Ahead, there's like 5 quid a donut, and they look at me and they go, "Why don't you just go to Tesco's?" And then that's a challenge. But yeah, I think you're right. That's a really clever idea. If you can do something so quickly, for quick turnaround.
And the strawberries tasted so good as well, like class by themselves. So yeah, really good. Yeah.
you were roped in. Okay, perfect. First standard questions. Best hospitality experience.
So I don't know if this qualifies as hospitality, and yes, it was over this trip as well. But my favorite brands, like in the world, is Kith. Like I love them so much. I have a Kith jacket here, and going into their store yesterday, and anytime I've gone to them, like they've one in Paris and they've one in America, like all around the world, they just have such a seamless experience from start to finish. So when you get greeted at the door, door guy's normally nice. They have a door guy, which is, first of all, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Normally a big ass door as well, like really heavy. All the pieces in there, how it's set up is there's just one item on all the racks, and all of the pieces are really nice. I found like a lot of brands online, like clothing brands, where their online is amazing, but when you go in store, it's like really disappointing. But they just say hi to you. They do all the basics really well, and they're very cool. Like they're not trying to push it into anything, and they want to just have a chat with you. All the way up to the point at the end where we had, like, from the day, because we were making a trip out of this, we had a bunch of different bags. So like Jordan got some stuff from Zara and H&M and everything. And they offered to, like, they could look after it so we could go for like dinner and then come back the next day.
Wow.
So just the whole experience, that brand universe is just amazing. And it's really cool as well for something that you can be a fan of, that in person, like that's the only place I'd want to go back to now.
Yeah.
So I love it so much.
I think the interesting point you're talking about as well is that memorable experience. We had Gabrielle, she's good. She was on a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about being cherished. What I wanted to be cherished, like going into a restaurant. It's more about restaurants, but it's the same in any concept. But if you can take the online concept to what it is in store, you're building the raving fan, because it's a remembering piece. You're already talking about it, so that you're going to consistently tell them, this is insane, I'm going to go back. I think that's hard to do, but if you can get it right, it's insane.
Yeah. I love to think as well, like Ronnie Feig, is it Feig? Ronnie, I follow him online. Like, I'd love to understand from his perspective when he's setting up a store, or, we went to Jacuzzi as well over this trip. That was nice. I'd love to meet any like restaurateur to say, like, are they really militant from like the moment someone comes in the door to the moment that they, pay the bill? Are all those steps like fully mapped out for all the staff?
Yeah.
Or are there elements where they're given a bit of flexibility is it in the Hilton or something that they have, like, any person has like $2,000 budget or something that they can spend on like something random to delight the customer?
Oh, really?
So I wonder how.
I quite like the DoubleTree bit with the cookies. Have you had that?
No.
Every DoubleTree you go to has a warm cookie at reception. So when you check in, they give you a warm cookie. Except when I went to Brighton recently, for work, I went there and she was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't even know. I forgot they had to cook." She goes, "I'm so sorry. We run out of cookies." And I was like, "Okay." And she goes, No, you're meant to have one, but come back in an hour and I'll have them. But you get like a warm cookie when you arrive.
Wow.
So it's that remembering piece. But there's a colleague of mine who's got a design company, and she's an architect and designer, and her husband's a builder. And they were talking about when they build restaurants, they don't, because her husband used to be a chef as well, they don't build restaurants just for the pretty nice looking. They look at the flow of where the waiters are able to get through and past and around. They look at where the pass is to where it's the understanding and the psychology behind it. Because you have like architects will come in and going, "I'll do this for you," and it looks beautiful, but then how does the waiter get from here to here with a giant tray of whatever? And it was really interesting, the thought process of how do you make it look beautiful, but make the flow work. So it's quite interesting what you're saying as well, but that's really clever. I think the thing I like about Pret here is they're allowed to give a freebie to anyone they like. So I was in Haymarket about 3 months ago, and I walked in and I was having a good day, and I was having really good banter, and I was chatting away, and I was like, her name was like a really unique. I was like, "Your name's insane," and she goes, "Oh, thanks so much." And I was like, "Okay, cool, blah blah blah," and she goes, "It's on me." Oh. And I was like, no, I want to pay. I want to pay. No, it's on me. So in prep, certain people are, well, I think everyone's allowed to do like one a day, I think it is, which is that memory piece, right? Yeah, I wouldn't even thought about it. And then obviously, you know, it's the storytelling. So anyway, best hospitality tech.
This I actually I'm not really sure what a good answer is. I was going to say Leap, but that's like not allowed because I'm friends with a guy who works.
You can say it. There's something you've used maybe as well.
I really
we'll add Lee as number one. There you go, Lawrence.
Yeah. We'll just give it to Lawrence. Yeah. I thought Leap was really cool. Like, there's a lot of stuff with in terms of like tech, I do a lot of stuff from work that's like really based around content.
Yeah.
But hospitality tech, we wouldn't do as much. But I thought Leap was pretty seamless. Like, I just love anything that's like a very seamless experience. Like, even in Jacuzzi as well, at the very end, this is like such a small thing, but you pay the bill with a QR code. It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But the way they do the flow is you're given the Google review like straight after, or wherever they placed it. I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And then when I went onto Google Maps, they had like 23,000 reviews. So sometimes I think the placement of where the thing goes is incredibly...
And the right point as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. I think most of them now do that Google piece at the end. And Big Mama Group, who own Sunday, which is the app. If you look at their own venues that they use the app, if you look on Google, it's insane. They're like, so we've just done like competitor analysis, blah, blah, blah. So you can see the list, and we added it for a client. And one of the Big Mama Groups were like 3,500 reviews versus like 1,200.
Wow.
Because they've been, and also their team are pushing people to do it as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's really clever. The placement of the Google review is insane. It's insane. So
because if we had gone to the till, it wouldn't have happened.
We're not going to scan it, are you? Afterwards?
Yeah, it's just so awkward, and like it's really the flow of it. Kind of going back to even say when you were doing like nightclub promotion, it is the flow of like, say, when I was doing it in Dublin, only for a year and a half.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to give away with specifically like groups of girls, if it was hens, for whatever reason, they love tequila rosé in Dublin anyway. So there's just like a specific moment just when they've come in, as they're about to get to the table, that you have the shots ready, and as they sit down, you deliver the tray, and it's like a wow moment. So timing is kind of everything.
No, you're right, and you're right, absolutely. I think it's timing and placement. I think I went to ages ago. I went to Pizza Express and I don't often go there. It's not my favorite place to go.
You can admit if you go there often.
I don't go there. I don't go. But my kid and my wife's gluten free, so it's helpful. But the reason why I'm mentioning it, we sat down, my kid was at dance, right? So we were there for like 2.5 hours at Westfield. And we went to people, we're like, where should we go? I'm like, you got allergies, we'll go to Pizza Express, it's easy, it's fine. So we sat down, the woman was insane, and she had printed her own Google review cards with her name on it, and they gave it to us, and she'd laminated them. And she was like, I was like, to head office, no, you do this. She goes, no. She goes, no, but I've just made them. And I gave her an amazing review. And that was that conversation piece. Do you know what I mean? I think if you're at different places, if you're scanning and you're not talking to anyone, that you're missing it. Right. So I agree. Okay. So we like to do this a little sort of like originally before you did what you did. We're going to start with the history piece.
Okay, cool.
Of before you started Fearless, where all of this started.
Yeah. So I first started making content when I was like 12.
Yeah.
So my dad had this old beat up camcorder.
Love that.
And we were on holidays in France, and I just had got an iPod Touch, and I was getting like consumed by YouTube, and I was watching all these big YouTubers, and within the space of probably 2 or 3 months, I wanted to become like a YouTuber. And so I went to my dad and was like, you know, he's kind of a traditional Irish dad. I was like, can I, publish a YouTube video? And he said, absolutely not.
Not in my house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then at the time I used to play like a lot of cricket. So we live out in the countryside, and cricket was a great way to like kill time during summer and like Easter breaks and stuff. And Dad came back to me a couple of weeks later because he saw I was disappointed, and he said, you could make educational cricket videos if you want, because previously I just wanted to make like comedy stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I can work with that. So I just used to go into Google, see like the most searched terms or whatever. Then I'd go onto YouTube and see if there was anything published UK and Ireland on it. This was like 2011 maybe.
Yeah.
And over the course of maybe like first and second year in secondary school, I only made like 30 videos. But I just started building the YouTube channel, and it got like a lot of people watching in India. So obviously like a lot of people play cricket in India, and to the point where like the coolest message that I got, and this was only when I was like 13, was there was this teacher in Australia who wanted to show the videos during their class, and she was asking permission. And this was at a time when they've actually recently brought this back, but YouTube back then used to be subscribers could message each other, whereas then they got rid of it for years. That's kind of more like an Instagram thing now, but then they've brought it back, so it really felt community based, and there was no like botted comments. Everyone was like a real person. So actually it was so far back that the big YouTubers, if they got a lot of views in the first hour, it would be stuck at 305 views. I don't know if you watched YouTube at the time, but it was mad. There wasn't like real-time refresh on view counts and stuff.
That's insane.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I started. And throughout secondary school, I was doing like the odd bits of video here or there just because I liked it. I got a GoPro when I was like 16. And the reason why I kind of started making content properly, which to me was kind of when I was 18, I did college vlogs, was kind of two things. One, there was a guy in the UK called Alex Mars who was the same age as me. He actually ran a Wi-Fi routing business.
Yeah.
And he was doing daily vlogs.
Yeah.
So I saw a guy who was like the same age as me, speaking the same language, and I was like, there's no reason why I shouldn't do it. But then the other source of inspiration was there was a guy in my class who I'm still friends with now called Alex Quinn, who when we were like 16, he kind of punted school and was doing his own video business.
Oh, insane.
Which is pretty unheard of. Like 2013, there was no like Gary Vee, there was no, so entrepreneurship wasn't like cool. And we all thought he was just like
Crazy.
Absolutely crazy. I was going to use another word, but yeah, absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
His sister was in film school, and our whole thing, like the equivalent to GCSEs in Ireland, we were like, well, obviously we have to do well in school to get anywhere. And Alex was a big reason why I felt like something was possible, because he had done it.
Yeah.
And now he actually has one of the biggest agencies, like production companies in the country.
Really?
Yeah, he's incredibly talented. So
He started early, didn't he?
super early. Yeah. And so that was kind of how it started, and then it kind of morphed into like YouTube videos in college, and then I did a
So what did you do at college? Is it was it media or just...
business? Yeah. I did business only because my mom really wanted me to do it, and I wasn't making enough money from like freelance video to have a living. So I did business, and it was a pretty relaxed degree. Like if you wanted to do well, you could study a lot. I didn't really study till final year, and I just kept getting C's and D's just to pass. But I used a lot of the time in the campus, because I was in UCD, which is kind of like a big campus in Ireland. And I recorded loads of different aspects. You
probably had loads of, did you have facilities there as well to utilize or not?
Yeah, there was like loads of different schools. There was like, the sports center. There was a bunch of these different nights, like the Commerce Ball. There was like the Iron Stomach. So there was a lot of stuff to record. So campus was like a super rich atmosphere to capture content. And I was kind of the only one.
And were people doing much content at that point?
There was no one vlogging in UCD. I was like the only one.
That's insane.
Yeah, so I was like, for a small group of like 20,000 people, I was like
the resource.
yeah, exactly. If you wanted to know what was happening on campus, this was kind of before TikTok, so there was a bit of a time delay with it. Yeah. So I would maybe publish a week after the things happened. I think if.
And where would you publish on YouTube? Or?
On YouTube, yeah. So I was publishing
not on was Facebook doing videos like that?
It was doing videos. I wasn't really pushing it that much, But
and that's when Instagram was just doing photos, right?
I think so. Yeah. Videos just came in, like just as I was starting. That was like 2014, 2015.
It feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like technology has morphed. So if you publish, there's always this joke online now. There's like 2017 YouTube, which was like Casey Neistat and stuff, that there's a certain kind of vlog from that era. If you make that kind of vlog, you probably grew up in that time. Yeah. Whereas now it's just so different, and a lot of creators now, they focus their attention on short form. And if it succeeds, they then, bring it onto YouTube. Yeah. Rather than the other way around, which was you're like a YouTuber, you know? And Instagrammers and stuff was probably the other social media influencer. So I think everything has changed so much. I think,
massively. So then carry on. You were the resource at uni. Yeah. And then the only vlog, did someone take up the mantle after you left? Or not really?
I think now there's a couple of TikTokers. I don't follow it as closely. Yeah. It's a pretty niche audience. Like 30,000 people is very niche, you know? But I kind of did that throughout college. So there was 4 years. I had an internship in the middle, where I was away from campus, and kind of the video started first and second year just as vlogs. And then third year and fourth year I was trying to do more viral style videos. So kind of sneaking into places or doing more essays. So I just wanted to broaden the viewership, because at the beginning it was probably only like 2, 3, 4,000 people watching.
Still pretty good.
It was good, but when you're putting all the time and effort in, and obviously that core fan base was great, but the broader videos were great because they got more viewership.
Yeah.
Like, this is so random, but when Krispy Kreme came to Ireland, we made like a same day video on that, and that did really well. So as time went on, I was also getting busier with freelance, so I was kind of doing less and less YouTube.
So were you
videos.
doing curation video, or were you doing what part of the freelance were you doing?
I was kind of doing like standard videography, so like event videos, like hero videos, coffee shops, etc.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I got like one retainer for like an events business, and then gradually I was spending more time doing the freelance because it was making more money than the YouTube style stuff.
And you're making money from YouTube as well, no?
No, so zero. But
okay.
I got a lot of number one, I got a lot of awareness.
Yeah.
And it's kind of something that I say to people now, and you could say like, oh, it's your vested interest in saying that because it's your business. But I think it's the truth, is that good social content where you just give out stuff for free, which can be educational or it can be something funny, it can be entertaining. It's all goodwill. And for me, it's opened up a lot of doors in terms of just meeting people. And then, you're not necessarily going to do work with someone straight away, but if you become friends with them, there might be like an opportunity down the line.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is kind of a lot of business people, obviously for good reason, are a bit more transactional in terms of what am I going to get back from it. But seeing it as something that you can get your personality across. And it can also, in a business setting, if someone's just focusing on price, say they're comparing you to someone else, but you have a bit of goodwill, or they like you, or they like what you put out online, it kind of gives you this
It gives you the edge, right?
Yeah.
It gives you the edge. And also there's a likability piece as well. So if someone's standing there going, ma, 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 or someone's being really energetic and talking, and you can see that there's a love for it.
Yeah, and
I think
an
that's
enthusiasm.
massive.
And would I want to work with them?
Yeah, 100%.
So at the time during college, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I think now, as a little bit older, I can see both sides of it, I guess.
Were you like, no one's doing it? Why is like we use? Because when we started this, right? Last year I went to the tech show and we did some content there, and I did like a 1 minute hospitality tech show. I did the year before last. I did like a proper interview with people I know, right? And it was a bit like 4 minutes. No one's going to watch 4 minutes, right? It was just boring. It wasn't boring. I found it interesting. So then last year I was like, I'm doing 1 minute. I literally elevator pitch. Tell me about Square. Tell me about Square EPOS, blah, 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 1 minute, go. And then literally the responses on putting out on LinkedIn and social was just crazy. People were like, okay, I got everything I needed in like 60 seconds. And then this year they called me and they asked if I wanted to do like a talk or whatever. And I was like, that's a bit boring, isn't it? Anyway, so I said, your content is crap. And they're like, thanks. And I didn't say that. I said, your content's not great. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, it's not quick enough. Like, you've got these insane people. She goes, well, why don't you just help us out? And I was like, okay. So this year I ended up doing like talking to like the CEO of Burger King and stuff like that. But I did it so quickly, put up my phone, put it on CapCut, did the captions, gave it to them. And I was like, right, go post it. And they're like, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. I was like killing myself, but they did post them pretty quick. And so getting that out for them was awesome. But I think you're right. I when I first started doing this sort of stuff, I was like, oh, no one cares. And then as you gradually do stuff and do more things and meet more people, that's when they start to see what you're doing. And I think there's the added value in that as well, right?
Yeah. And then also you're learning as well. Like you're getting more skilled at doing podcasting. If you get invited onto someone else's podcast, you'll be a better guest on theirs. And I think the biggest meta learning of everything is that you just become very proficient at the content. And it's kind of the same thing with, say at the moment, I'm pushing back into trying a lot more stuff like with personal branding, and TikTok being the platform because it's the easiest to post a lot and you can fail and no one's going to see it.
I think it's interesting. I was talking to someone else the other day that was telling me, post 3 or 4 videos on TikTok, right? Different types of videos, whichever one sort of works the best, gets the most traction, plop it on Instagram. And all of a sudden, that video, if you were to put those other 3 videos that didn't do so well on TikTok, but then put them all on Instagram, because you can't delete on Instagram really, because they get upset. Yeah. It's really interesting how TikTok doesn't care. They just want content, right?
Yeah, it's just like interest based. Yeah. And if you go to any kind of, so most people live in the explore page on TikTok, whereas Instagram, we still kind of live half and half with people that we know. And then if we're bored, we'll go to the explore page.
Yeah.
So TikTok, given that it's mainly explore, you're only going to get fed either the best or what you're interested in that day. But if you actually click on like an individual creator's profile, even the big ones, you'll see huge discrepancies, like a video with 100K or 1 million, and then some with like 4,000 or 5,000 views. So given the platforms like that, I think it really helps to try out like a bunch of different formats. So you could have like, for TikTok in particular, you could try a vlog, you could try a swipe post, you can try a post with no text, you can try a 7-second video, and you don't get punished for it. And you just become, and I think the other elements as well is like you become more like flexible in your head. You're like, actually, I might try something different for this platform. So I think it just makes you overall like stronger, bigger into experimentation. And I think the more experimentation that you do, that's when you can find like, you know, a home run kind of format that then you can just go, okay, people like this. Let's run with the format for a bit until people get bored, and then do a new format.
I want to go back because we're going for now. It's all, I've been asking you questions, so it's all good. So you started doing more freelance. You got the events company as a contract. And then so that's still just you?
Just me and like one other guy who at the time I didn't drive. And I paid this guy called Brian, who's like a really nice guy. Just to help me drive around.
Right.
Because like he had spare time and I didn't drive.
It's perfect. Cheaper than an Uber, right?
It was cheaper than an Uber. That's why I did it at the time.
And he probably didn't mind waiting for you.
He didn't mind. He was chilling.
That's nice. So there's always one person that helps you drive. When you're learning to drive, generally when you're younger, right? There's always one guy who's either older than you. You end up like he's like the best person in the world because he's driving from about. I remember those days. But yeah, okay, cool. So he was 2 people, 1.5 people, right? And then so what happened from there?
So basically, as I was graduating, I was like, oh, cool, this is great. Kind of when I started college, I had a goal of if I can just have like a crappy grad salary that I don't need to take a grad program or because like probably 2/3 of my course went and did accounting or some form of law or something. And I was kind of at that point. So I was like, great. So I'll go into this full time. What could I do if I could do it full time instead of being a student and doing it? And that was just when the pandemic happened. And at that time, I probably had 2 or 3 retainers. They were all in-person based. They all kind of had the same conversation. Look, really nice working with you, but just the uncertainty at the moment. This is only going to last a month, and then it lasted a long time. So at the time, I was sharing an office with my friend Jake, and basically he had this idea. He had a similar business, and he had this idea of, well, we started Creator House. So the year before, I had met a guy called Thomas Petru who started the Hype House in LA. And I didn't really understand too much of what was going on at the time, but I did like a full-on hour-long chat with him for like a podcast. And I didn't really get it at the time because he had only just started. But a year had passed. He was kind of popping off. There was no one in Europe doing it. And we just decided we would do it in Ireland because number one, I had some of the connections.
And this is during COVID?
During COVID.
So you're in the bubble anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it was perfect time.
We started September 2020, just when there was the second phase of lockdown in Ireland. And it was the perfect storm because everyone was at home. To be honest, I'd wish, I wish we could say we mastermind this, but it was luck,
Sometimes things are meant to be.
Because we thought of the idea like in May. And then Jake just said, we got to start September 1st. So we started September 1st. It was the day the second lockdown started. Everyone was on their phones. And we had, basically rented this super cool house in like the middle of Dublin. There was 10 creators living in it. And it was a bit like a reality show. So we recorded
I love the Hype House. It was insane.
It was so good.
It was such a good,
And it's very entertaining, So it was kind of simple. Like we had the media side of it for organic. And then on the back end, we were trying to interest brands to either be part of the...
So where did you find the creators?
So the creators, a lot of them were just DMing them, and like half of them I knew personally.
Okay.
And there's not a huge amount of creators to DM in Ireland. And there's only a certain cohort who would be willing to live in a house with like 8 other people. So we just literally, it was actually voice messages. And then we had this one, like Jake made it like basically a pitch deck to show them, and that was the same format that we did when we did it in America the following summer. Was voice messages.
Hold on. So whoa. You did it. How long did that last?
It was only like 4 months in Dublin.
And then you did it in the summer in America.
In America.
Or did you flew people over, or you did it with creators over there?
American creators.
That's insane.
So 4 months over there, and it was so fun. It was in the Hollywood Hills. It was on the same street as where they had the Hype House. There's like 4 of these houses. when we were
Designed for creators.
yeah, kind of, yeah, and it was such a funny street because
How does sponsorship? How does that work? Like, like you couldn't just grab a house, right?
yeah, exactly. Like at the time, basically, we were just emailing lots of brands.
Yeah.
You know? And like we'd made obviously like a little bit from the previous house. And like, me and Jake were
So the
putting
same thing for the previous one. Did you get brand sponsorship for the previous ones?
Yes, yeah. And then me and Jake, we had money saved up as well. So we kind of used that and rolled it over into the next
And were you
one.
both in it as well?
I was living there. Jake was living at home.
Okay,
Yeah. So it was a mad experience.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And like learned a huge amount from it. I think by the time it was like July, basically, when I came home after the American one, that I just learned so much, but it was like a super intense experience. And I wanted to take all those learnings and kind of bring it back to what I had started previously, which was video. But
so were there additional people there cutting, splicing, editing, or was it all of you guys doing it too?
Yeah, there was a team like who ran it day to day.
Yeah.
We were kind of
So
just
thankfully
like,
you didn't have to do that too.
Exactly. Yeah, we were just kind of overseeing it, but there was American people basically running it. So, yeah, it was cool.
That's insane. And the same thing for back in Dublin. Did you have people?
Yeah, we had people in house like helping with the edits.
Nice.
A lot of them were like friends helping out, and like my best friend to this day, Dara, he actually lives with me now in an apartment in town. So that's actually where we met, was through the house. So yeah, it was super cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And so what was the viewership like for the one in, because during COVID, everyone was, you were in second lockdown. It must have just been mental because no one had anything else to do. So were they just consistently like, and where were you posting?
We were mainly, we were cross-platform, but TikTok was the one that was like doing the best for us. And like the page is still up. I think it's
I'll have to go. I'll definitely put a link into it. That's insane.
We had like a bunch of viral videos at the time. Like the one that got the most views was like 15 million or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just at the time, and it's kind of stuff that's still relevant now, although I think that the attention is like a bit more disparate.
Yeah.
But like a recent example was, so like 5 days ago, Dublin Airport opened up a new lounge, and we were going to the airport to come here. And when we got in, I was like, oh, that's a new lounge. And I went in and asked, and they said, oh, it actually only opened like a couple of days ago. And that to me is like the perfect piece of content, because I was like,
it's fresh and new. And
so are you first? Are you best? Can you give someone something novel that they haven't experienced before? And that was the same thing with the TikTok house. We were the first.
Yeah.
By definition, we were the best because there was no other competitor. And is it new and novel? Yeah. Like people have seen the creators before, but they haven't seen them all together in a house. So I think it's the same thing when we're all brainstorming about our own content. Is like a lot of the stuff that we can do day to day is like commoditized or can be boring. But is there a way that you can do it that's interesting, unique, giving someone a reason that they should watch, given that they have an infinite amount of options that they can consume online at any given moment? You know?
Yeah. I like that. That's a good methodology. You sort of need that on the website, to be fair. So it's true.
Yeah.
Like it's the first thing you see. Okay, so now we're when was America?
So I came back from America July of 2021.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then what happened?
Oh, sugar, that was 5 years ago.
It was 5 years ago. Yeah.
From there, I just went back to Fearless, but instead...
So Fearless, was it always called Fearless or not?
It became Fearless in 2019.
Okay.
Previous to that, it was like Thomas Arnold Films.
Nice.
And I didn't want people to think like it's just me. So,
yeah.
And like the creator experience gave a lot more about like working with a team and like having a bigger vision for stuff. So I came back to Fearless, but with the goal of... didn't want to become like a videographer, wanted it to ultimately be like a really good creative agency. So that's kind of what I've been working on since. I know it's been 5 years now. I feel like I should be further along the line or something, but
it's not about that though, is it? It's I think sometimes when you do what you love, and you've got good clients, you don't need to be exploding on Hollywood or having that, 30 million creators and so on. If you're working with good brands and showing the value of how the brand works. Slow roll is great.
It's definitely with service businesses as well. Like the shoot we were on yesterday for Therapy Clinic, like they're our longest retainer. We've had them for like 5.5 years, kind of since I came back from Ireland or from America. So that is our story in terms of, we have a lot of just reoccurring or repeat customers that kind of, tip over the business. And you obviously get same with you, I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of just developing relationships and continuing to work with them, but there's also so many different challenges that have occurred along the way. Like there was the pandemic, and then I think like there was a whole period of where short form became like really important, and now there's AI, and I'm sure those challenges will continue moving forward, but it's really satisfying as opposed to something just being come in, grant. It's like you can work with them.
You're not, I think the nice thing hearing here is that you're not just they're not going to use it as a one-off. It's sort of building that relationship through, and staying in touch with them and seeing how we see it is that my mentality is we can bring you more business. You make more money, you open your locations, you use us more, which is similar to yours as well, really, because, they'll expand because if you bring them more money, they'll then utilize that money to use you more as well. And that's sort of how my brain roughly works it. Do you know what I mean? It's like that circle, the circle of life in business. So yeah, it's interesting on that. And so So, okay. So now are we up to date? Are we up to date now or not?
Really? Yeah, that's kind of been the past.
So the last 5 years,
years.
if you just sort of been growing the business nicely,
slowly but surely. Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to spread yourself out. I've got to the point in the other side of the business where giant clients come on board. And then I felt, I need to employ more people. And then you've got that one giant client that and then, then they've gone or they've changed. And then you've got these, it's not how it should be. You don't want to grow to that, because then you're not in control, right? And that's how I sort of see it. When we expand, when we had to bring in more people in to handle the stupid contract I did, which was super cheap for a big brand. I learned my mistakes, right? Pandemic helped us because they exited, let's just say, or we exited them. And then after the pandemic, we restructured, and I quite like where we are. We're a family-run business. It's all about the organic growth. I don't want to advertise everywhere. I don't want to put it out. I'd rather say, I know if it's probably similar to you, I know someone that can do this for you.
Yeah.
It's that connection piece.
And the trust piece.
Yeah. We're hospitality. I think they say like 80% of operators will basically pick up a referral. They won't go out and look, who do you use for this? And then be like, we use these guys. Oh, okay, I'll call them.
Yeah.
And that's basically how that works. It's really, really interesting. Similar in retail as well. So because you're not all hospo, right? It's a mix, massive mix. Is it mainly retail, or is it retail beauty?
Yeah, it's kind of.
What's the
There's
bag?
kind of two use cases for it. I think one around just like a general reason why we end up getting referred into someone is they have a need for content and they see that it helps them with their business, but they either don't want to employ someone in-house and they want to kind of use the flexibility of you're paying an agency fee, but you get my experience. We have an in-house videographer, we have an editor, as opposed to having to go, okay, am I going to have to employ a guy, give him equipment? What if he leaves? Can he edit? Because sometimes those skills are in separate buckets.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like one general thing. In terms of, I like to say that we either help people who have like brick and mortar locations bring more people into like where they want to go. So we've worked with like the National Science Centre, or like we work with a furniture store like once a month. And outside of that, it's generally just making, I know this is very vague, but it's making engaging content for any kind of vertical where they've seen it be kind of stale, or they've maybe done stuff before, but they're not really engaging for whatever reason with the target audience. We're kind of there to bring, and you could argue it's a bit softer, a bit fluffy, but it's to bring some of the engagement back into something that maybe they've been investing in, but they haven't really been seeing returns, which I think is a little bit of like a bit of a dark art. It's a bit like the warm cookie example that you gave, because not all of our stuff is like super templated, And to me, I really just focus on, what do I think someone's going to engage with? What do I, like if I was a viewer, what would be something that I would, get value from?
Yeah.
So
I guess it's interesting because it's also the learning piece as well. Learning about the brand, learning about the stuff that you're building, because content can be boring, right? It just wants to stand in there showing something, or alternatively using your experience because you understand how people's brain works to not make it that swipe. All right, because it's about getting the right hook, getting the right. You don't want people just to immediately go right. Yeah. So do you tend to find that when you take the content and you spread it across different platforms, you're slightly adjusting it, because obviously TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, and across the board is so different. Yeah. So many different people use it, right? Some people. My friend just loves Shorts. He doesn't hates TikTok, and we just literally scroll through Shorts. I'm like, what? Why? Like, it's really interesting what people use. So do you? I mean, I know there's a big difference between, the demographics of use it, but is there a massive difference when you're posting across those platforms?
That's a great question. I think so. For us, from like a practicality point of view, we focus on making like a really good vertical video as like our pillar piece, and then as we put it across the different platforms, which for us, to be honest, it's either going to be TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. They all get something slightly different. So like TikTok, generally you have to speak a bit younger. Even if your target audience is a bit older, that's just something that's like a language that TikTok likes. So having a word like POV in your TikTok will be good. Your caption, I wouldn't really do a long caption, like do a joke or something. That's what people like. Whereas LinkedIn, it's actually almost the opposite. I actually think videos don't actually do very well. I post them still, but I actually think pictures are better. Pictures, and people love long form copy. They're there to read. So thinking of...
What's the Facebook of business, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think. That's why I think LinkedIn really is. People will just sit there and scroll.
Yeah. Or on like a Ryanair flight, it's always like my dad's on Facebook, I'm on TikTok or whatever. YouTube Shorts is slightly different as well. I think YouTube Shorts is great for, you can link so in a short, it can have like an option where you can link to a long form. So I love with, like, TikTok can be all over the shop. You don't need it to link to a long form piece. Whereas with YouTube, I love to have a savage long form. And within that, we would normally map out in the script like 8 shorts. And they will be standalones with like their own hooks, but I all want them to lead back to the main video.
Nice.
Because the main video is more of a conversion based, like not even necessarily for someone to buy, but I want someone to become a fan. So if they want to become a fan, I really they're never going to get that from 5 seconds.
No.
And I don't want that level, like for example, if you think of like your favorite YouTuber, you probably know their name, but a TikToker, you don't know their name, but you know their face. You'll be like, I've seen his face or I've seen her face. Whereas YouTuber, you're like, nah, I've met, or like, I like Casey Neistat or whatever. So I think to me, that shows where the platforms sit in someone's brain better. And ultimately you want to have like, in a business term,
you're feeding them, aren't you? So I think with shorts, you're sort of feeding to the right place, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because ultimately, the big long thing, which could be an hour or it could be like a 20, 30-minute thing, that's the thing that will cement someone in the digital universe. Your brand will sit in their head as like, this is something, a resource I want to go back to.
So if you're a brand now and you're thinking about that strategy, what's some advice that that you would give? Like, if people, I'll give it like, my local Italian, right? He's a chef. He's hilarious. His name's Paolo. He's got Paolo's Italian. And I said to him ages ago, I said, you've got to do some content, man. Come on. He goes, I'm too busy. I'm tired. And I showed him the Tap Tam Door, the guys on TikTok having an absolute laugh, doing some karaoke. And he goes, are you being serious? And I was like, come on, like, go on. And so he started. And now he's got a clip on his camera. He's doing LinkedIn Live. He's doing TikTok Lives, having a bit of a laugh. And he did, the whole thing with people doing their pizza. They put in the pizza and you shake it and you open the pizza. So he did that the other day, and then he cut a hole around it and did that, right? And he's now on 13.3 million views on TikTok just from that. And his bookings have increased because people have seen him and are now traveling to there. And that's just, and he does, like, the police came for a takeaway and he asked if they could arrest, it was on Valentine's Day. They said, can you come in the back and I can record you and you could just pretend to arrest me. And they go, Paolo, we've got to arrest you. You're you know your rights. Blah, blah, blah. He goes, what do you mean your food's too good, Paolo? So we're arresting you because your food's too good. And he just started and he's now loving it because he's having a bit of a laugh. On Saturday and Friday, he'll put the camera on, and go live. And I think there's a big scare. People are worried and terrified of making themselves look silly. The British thing specifically, when I started doing this, I'm like, oh, in front of a camera, like shit. Right now, I don't care, but it's getting over the hump. What's your advice on someone who hasn't done social, but are sort of terrified? TikTok's terrifying for some brands. Instagram's a bit easier. What's your advice on starting that journey?
Yeah,
call you. There you go.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think there's kind of like two things. One, first of all, making the decision, okay, do I want my business to be founder-led, which is, it has to be the person who started the business, or do I want a face of my business? So maybe to do the second one first. The face is like, find a person, young or old, who just likes doing the content, because you're going to need a person to be the front of this brand, whatever it is. And then if you're doing it that way and kind of giving instructions down, I'd be focusing on things like you said, authenticity really works. So like organic customer interactions, you're generally probably not, you're going to be time constrained. So picking formats or ways of recording that are like easy to do. So like having a camera on your head or having a camera mounted somewhere where you just capture, say it's a pizzeria, every person coming through. If you want to use, someone asked me this recently, they were like, oh, but like, what about permissions? You're like, you just ask them.
Yeah.
You just literally say, I'm recording a video right now. Is it okay if I use this?
Yeah. Most people are all right with that.
Yeah, exactly. They're fine. Yeah.
And can you not just put a big sign on the wall saying you're being recorded? Or do you physically have to ask them nowadays?
I think, I actually don't fully know what the like consent element of it is. I think
no harm in asking, is there?
Yeah, exactly. If you have the consent on video, I think it's fine.
Yeah. They're actually saying, yeah, that's fine.
I'm saying this is fine.
Yeah, thanks. I've got you. Yeah.
And then the other element is if you want it to be like a personal brand kind of thing, an easy way to start, one is pick a platform that you like.
Yeah.
So if you like to write. If you like to speak on video, speak on video. If you like audio, but you don't want to use any camera work, I would start on something that you like just to get a bit of experience and to get you going. Because if content's something that's like really far away from you, or you really feel like you need to outsource and you don't want to do it yourself, it'll always feel scary and you'll never understand it. The second element is a really basic framework. I've heard someone call this like the trust triangle, but one point of it is like anecdotes, personal stories about your life, for example, your experience being a nightclub promoter or anything that's happened in your past. Then another element is proof. So show me you have a good service. So
social proof, right? Social
proof. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So customers, testimonials, etc. And then the other element is just education, which is educating a future customer or like a potential customer about maybe the realities of running your business, maybe tips for them coming in, recommendations is another form of education. So all these three things are great. The anecdotes and the personal stuff, yes, it's not 100% business related, but it's the most broad in nature. You're never going to get a customer testimonial to go viral. And it's kind of the same thing with education. Education is like higher up the totem pole in terms of views, but generally it's the personality based things that are going to get people in. And then once you have their attention and their following,
they're looking through the count, I'm looking through the feeds.
And you can see them through, okay, so I like him as a person or her. They know what they're talking about and other people like it. Therefore I'll go and buy myself. Yeah. And that's kind of the easiest way, I think, to frame it. And you could just space it out as like, one post is personality, one post is proof, one post is education. Yeah. And I find that like a helpful framework to get someone started,
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really, as you're talking, my brain is off there somewhere in the side going, right, what do I need to do now? And it's a really good idea on the education piece because you can tell people about, my brain is off at the moment planning. Over the back of my brain is consistently planning now of everything you just said. So thank you. That's really helpful for me.
No problem. Yeah. So, because like in your particular case, if I could riff on this, like an organic thing that I think would be really good, which I've seen do really well on TikTok, is you're doing some form of in-person thing with someone, either an owner or just someone on their phone, because we've all had an experience where we've logged onto a guest Wi-Fi and you showing like your UI versus like a normal UI. Yeah. And I would probably be pointing out with like a normal one that like, do you know your data could get hacked? And that's not scaremongering, that's like a real thing. So that thing is like a broad awareness thing. The proof piece would be just showing how many people that you've worked with and like the different kinds of pages. The education piece I think is really interesting for you because, education to me doesn't just have to be directly product related. It can be ancillary issues related to the product. So cybersecurity comes into Wi-Fi, but also just general education about your phone comes into Wi-Fi. Yeah. So there's many different things that like you
my riff off of that, which is really interesting because we care about the customer journey. So Wi-Fi is just one piece of it, right? So when we speak to our clients, we talk about how do we set your customer journey up? So where's say sign up from Wi-Fi, sign up from reservations, sign up from the website, guiding that route through. And it's one of the things that we try and explain to people that what are you doing with your data? Is it just this? So the Wi-Fi thing is for us, it's really interesting because it tees out into loyalty. Like Leap, for example, it tees out into so many different things. So obviously you can tell I like talking. My conversations with clients will be once we've finished on the PR of this is what the platform does, then I'm like, so what are you doing? What's your point of sale? What do you have for this? How about loyalty? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I thought this was a phone conversation about Wi-Fi. So you're absolutely right. It's interesting on that, and I think probably something I probably should do or will do next is have that conversation about the customer journey. Because the one talk that we did the other day was about that, and that went really well because it's giving added value.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I agree. I think I don't want. I think I am on TikTok with this, right, and I'm Adam the Wi-Fi guy. My 16-year-old kids love me, so I'm doing really well with them, but not really well on TikTok because it's not a real interesting feed, right? But I do need to do some hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
So it's that. I think the general piece for me is time, doing this as well as doing that and this. So Opus Clip is great to post the stuff out for me. But yeah, I was talking to a colleague of mine in America, and she was like, just get an access point and smash it on the floor and just be stupid. So that might be something later. I found that I've got my drone working now.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I think we might just do some hilarious walk-ins and then on the phone. So I've got lots of ideas. So yeah, thank you for that. It's really interesting actually of different routes and so on. So yeah, this is really interesting. So I think the interesting piece here is that you sort of, because you understand the methodology of how that all works. I think other brands and companies that we've spoken to that do something similar to you will take it on a completely different realm, more of the corporate route. Right? Do you know what I mean? We'll get video, we'll get this done, we'll get it created. It's all polished, but there's no rawness to it. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that I've seen you do, it has like a rawness to it. I think you've got an understanding of what type of platform it is and what they need to see from it.
Yeah.
I think that, do you find that when someone comes to you from another company and they've gone, oh, we've done this for us, it's amazing. You're like, yeah, it's that corporate style, I've done a video for you, here you go, but it's not really done anything for you.
Yeah, and I think as well, it kind of depends on some businesses just literally have budgets that they need things recorded, and it needs to really fit within brand guidelines. And arguably, there is certain, say, a big corporate does a testimonial. When are they going to show this? They're going to show it to a big pitch for a big company in a room. I don't know if they necessarily want to laugh, but they just want to get some security that, like, if they work with this business, that the money's going to go somewhere proper.
But my brain goes, do something hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then make them laugh, let the barrier down, and then show them something else, like tee them into it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? You could so do a blooper. Like, I mean, that would be, if I sat in the room like half asleep and then something silly happened, I'm awake.
Yeah.
So I think
it gives people a breath as well to actually consume the information. It's kind of like, my French teacher, she was amazing in school. And one of the reasons why was she just had all these like funny anecdotes. And then you would go into like, I don't know, the passé composé or something. Yeah. You start learning the nits and grits of what you're talking about. So I think humor is amazing. And I think humor is actually underrated.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think that like, oh, I'm too serious to be funny. But actually, funny is a great gateway to getting into something serious, and it shows humanity. It shows a level of not taking yourself too seriously. Like personally as well, I don't believe that if someone is like funny, I don't necessarily think, oh, they're not great at their job. Actually, to be honest, I think it's the opposite, that they can both combine the hard skills with the soft skills. Yeah. I think it's like the perfect combination.
Yeah. Okay. One other question before we tee off. What's one of the most exciting projects that you've worked on? Except for the house, because that's just insane. So I will be looking at that afterwards. I can't wait to have a look. It's going to be insane. So yeah.
Yeah. Some recent projects we've worked on that I've liked is we've like relaunched like a Hurl brand in Ireland, which is like e-com focused.
Yeah.
I generally personally, I love the biggest shoots, which is kind of ironic because it's stuff that like looks really cool and you can get gaffers in and like a really cool DP. That's more so just to make something that's like absolutely beautiful. But I actually think my favorite things that we work on is when you get like a content system working in a business where they can do stuff repeatedly. They can learn stuff every month. So they're not just putting it out every month, but they're learning new lessons and they're trying new things. And then ultimately it's turning into like positive sentiment and positive like customer interactions. So this is like just a small example recently, but that furniture store, we just ran some UGC content in the locality. I know this is really basic, but we did a video that was there in this area called Kimmage. And we did a video saying, did you know our showroom is within 5 minutes of, and then we just went around to these like neighboring streets.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did it is because their showroom is in an industrial park, and it's not
out the
something
way.
that you would walk by.
Yeah.
And we got a load of people coming into the showroom then saying, "Oh, sure, we had no idea," and they liked the brand,
Yeah.
but it wasn't visible, you know. And it's those small.
I feel like you need the spray, you know, you can spray the floor with something like that, right? Do you know
Or
what I
like
mean?
directions.
Yeah, literally with like their logo going, you're only one street away. Do you know what I mean? The Ivy and Beale's head office is just up here, and outside their office, there's a hospitality SaaS platform that is sprayed right outside their office. So as soon as you walk outside their office, their logo is on the next step.
Oh my God.
So I was like, that's balls. Do you know what I mean? So, but that would be quite cool. So like, you know, you're only one street away. And their logo.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I think I like that. Like, you're right. They're not going to spend money on billboards and advertising because it's going to cost a fortune.
Yeah.
But doing that social proof thing,
We're spending €25 a day on Meta. Like, it's not that much money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know what that is a month. It's not that
yeah,
much a month.
no, no, not at all.
Considering, as you said, like a billboard's a lot of money, or like the past 2-3 days.
But I think with you can also you're targeting the right segment, right? Rather than just going all out and paying 10 grand for Meta ads, you're literally able to specify that specific area, right?
Yeah.
With the content.
And then so we would normally run a batch of say like 3-4 videos, but whatever's the winning video, they put all the spend into that. So like imagine you're running a billboard here and the marketing team has made a decision on certain kind of copy or whatever. It's obviously very hard to track like what's working or not. Whereas with Meta, it'll only pick the winners. So, and also you can see.
So do you track those? Do those ads that you're taking, do you put them all together and then keep an eye on the ones that are winning and then just tee off the ones that aren't performing?
Yeah. So we would run it for like, it depends how much, you're looking at a couple of things. One, you need to put a certain minimum spend in for enough people to see it. And then we're looking at, say, for example, this is something that we like to do, but maybe people like to do differently. We don't always necessarily like to do direct lead form. So like you seeing an ad and filling something in. We prefer to drive people to the Instagram to get you to follow, to warm people up, and then that they can DM. So we will run something until either the frequency is too high, so we can see, okay, people have seen this a lot, but there's no new followers. And then the second thing is seeing if there's like fatigue. So if there's fatigue on the overall creative, we'll just refresh it and we will kill off the ones that don't work.
Yeah.
But
do you also help them with the DMs as well? Or...
No, but we would help them run the ads.
Yeah. Okay,
so the
fine.
DM, we like to get the staff to do it because they know that best.
Yeah.
You know, like they know how to interact with the customers properly. And they can also inform us like, do you know what, this is kind of crappy lead quality or whatever. Like Meta is kind of funny. Sometimes you can get absolute headbangers filling in forms.
Yeah.
And you have to sift
it's
through
weird
a lot
though,
of crap.
Sometimes I was talking to someone else the other day, their whole viewership changed from the video they posted. It completely diverted. So it was just weird. The whole like viewership of her profile flipped.
Okay.
Over like 3 days because she put a different type of video up and it got served to a different type of people. So a completely different country it was served up to, and it was weird. It was really strange. So and Meta's a weird one.
Yeah.
So, and what about and then do you find you get where do you find the better traction on ads? TikTok or because obviously TikTok ads too as well, right?
Yeah, if you want people to buy, it's definitely better on Meta. Like TikTok, so TikTok's super cheap to get it in front of a lot of people. So I've seen a lot of musicians, and literally just clicking boost.
Yeah.
Like it's 20 quid or something, and it gets in front of a lot of people. TikTok, I'd always leave as organic as your experimentation kind of piece, unless you're selling a TikTok shop.
I was about to say, what are your thoughts on that? Because at the moment, it's insane. There are like production houses that just have that was like a yellow storage, and that's now just like tiny little studios. People are just are doing TikTok shop.
Yeah,
that's the future, right?
I think the future, which I'm actually trying to figure out how we could do it in Ireland, but it's live streaming, which isn't the future. People already do live streaming.
Yeah.
But I think the next like really big businesses in most verticals will be a business owner who live streams every day. So it's literally like the Truman Show.
Yeah.
But they figured out to do it in such an entertaining way that it'll have like good lead flow for the business.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's like Jim Skin is like a UK guy who's doing a lot of live streaming. He's live streaming just focus on that. He has a bunch of clippers clipping up all the content to lead people back to the live stream. So I think that's happening in like China and Asia, but it just hasn't really happened in the West here.
Yeah.
The live streamers that we know like sell luxury handbags or are in a studio. But I think if a business owner could do that, that's like the next frontier.
So it's basically like the Osmo following someone around live
Constantly.
streaming.
Yeah. Like kind
and
of
then, and then while uploading, it goes to clippers. They clip it out and then feed it back to the live stream.
pretty much. Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, I think like, and I'd love to check back on this in a year.
Yeah.
I think we will see. Like,
I'll be watching you on live stream. It's fine. So you're 100%. You'll be like, the Osmo's behind me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like the easiest example we could think of is like a pizzeria.
Yeah.
Because like they have to be in person like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
But if someone can unlock that, I think they'll have like a really big business.
Yeah.
You know?
We also, it feels like when like Rams's Kitchen Nightmares, where you've got like 3-4 cameras and it just flicks between. So when your reservation gets sent to you via there, by the way, we're live streamed. So like the first restaurant in the country, being live streamed, so people can just in and look in it like the Truman Show, basically, right?
Yeah.
So, or like Big Brother.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great idea. You should speak to a brand. We could speak to Mad Egg and ask them. I think that would be insane to do, like, because then not only it drives people. When my local was online, I was there on a Saturday night and he was in the back and I was like. And I was on TikTok and I was literally like he was live streaming. I was giving him some points and footballs. And then I was like, message, come out here now with your camera. So he came out in the middle of the restaurant and was like, stop it. And then he walked back into the kitchen. It was hilarious. And it was live. He had 3,500 people for his little restaurant.
Wow.
I think his biggest one is 9,500. It's not bad for like a tiny restaurant.
That's really good.
And I think the live stream, I think you're right. It would be cool as well. Cause then you can,
it'd be fun.
yeah. That'll be hilarious. And also drives business as well. I think the terrifying piece is the bit if someone does something wrong or falls over or whatever it is, but it's the comedic factor, right?
Yeah.
So
well, that's what'll get clipped.
Yeah.
You know, things that go wrong.
Yeah.
Because things that we don't want to see things go right.
No, you're right.
We've seen it all before.
Yeah,
You know?
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I my brain is going to like the first live stream, TikTok live stream restaurant. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Because I think Netflix are doing in Vegas, they're doing Netflix House. So you're going to have each floor is going to be one of the shows like Stranger Things and so on. So it's going to be F&B, so it's a restaurant, but it's an immersive experience. And they're doing one in the city, potentially, I don't know if it's being done or not, but one in the city as well in London to do with one of the Netflix, I forget the Netflix show now, but the whole venue is going to be branded to that show. And then obviously it's not owned by Netflix. The one in the city is theirs, but they're doing a JV with it. So it's going to be really interesting to see that sort of thing as well. So if you do a joint venture with a brand, and then it's an immersive experience, and then you got the live as well, that would be insane. Like the ABBA experience and stuff like that, or whatever it might be, the stuff you have in London. Those immersive experiences, having that live as well would be awesome. I think you just need to add in the terms and conditions that you will be streamed.
Yeah.
Which I think would be cool.
Yeah.
But even like the competitive socializing places like karaoke and stuff. My brain's going, I think we've got a business to do. Listen, thank you. This has been insane. It's been really interesting. So I'm going to give you a round of applause. A nice round of applause. We didn't talk about any of the questions I asked because we teared up. I knew I would. Okay, so final questions. Best restaurant.
Oh yeah, sorry, I wrote these down. Okay, the best restaurant is the Ivy. Mm-hmm. There's actually one in Dublin. There's one in London as well. Yeah. The Ivy was. I love the Ivy. Yeah.
It's the one in Dublin. Is it Asia as well?
Oh, there's two. Yeah, this is the Ivy and then the Ivy Asia.
What's your favorite?
I've only actually been to the Ivy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got to try the Asia. Asia's pretty cool too.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really good. It's the one. It's big, right? The one in Dublin.
Yeah, big. Yeah.
It's
really good.
Nice. Okay, best burger.
There's a place called Bunsen in Dublin. They have like 7 or 8. Really good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Best hotel.
I think the K Club in Kildare. I don't know if you know that.
No.
It's like a golf club as well.
Oh, nice.
It's really good. Yeah.
Okay, 2 questions for the next guest.
Yeah, the 2 questions were, one, what do you think is the most underrated part of a hospitality experience? And then the second one is, can you give me your favorite brunch spot in London?
But listen, thank you so much. I'm going to give you another round of applause and give everyone a little wave goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.